What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the show. It's time for the Wrestling Wire. I am, of course, your host, the Saint. I'll be here all week, right? So, anyway, guys, the rumor mill around this whole sale thing is still insane right now. I can't believe all these people are just stuck on it. Here's the trick of the trades. Number one, no sale's going to happen overnight. Gotta know that going into this. Number two, if you really believe everything you read on the dirt sheets, then CM Punk would have returned 75 times to the WWE, showed up 14 times at Impact, arrived at the NWA 23 times, and finally showed up at AEW every week since its inception. Obviously, that's not the case. Also, if you believed everything else you read on the dirt sheets, you would believe all this madness, Kurt Angle and everything else. Stop paying so much attention to dirt sheets. Please stop believing everything you read on the internet. This is how we ended up with the Tide Pod Challenge. Y'all remember that shit? I remember that shit. Y'all people was eating Tide Pods. Give me a break. You gotta miss me with this stuff because there's so many people out there that just live and breathe and die by these worksheets, dirt sheets. It's ridiculous to me. Let's see here. We are going to go ahead and get rolling. I've got my notes pulled up here, and we'll talk more about the potential sale and everything else going on regarding that. Monday Night Raw wasn't bad, but there was nothing really spectacular about it. Now, obviously, they need to be building towards the Rumble, right? They're not. Uh, at this time, they're starting to get in the swing of things this week as far as the Rumble goes. They're trying to lay out more for it. So it's kind of the lull on the way up to that peak of the Rumble. Then we'll go back down, then we'll deal with the downfall, the fallout of it. And then we'll be back on the next trek up, towards the next pay-per-view before they hit Mania or PLE, not pay-per-view, PLE. We ended up starting off Monday Night Raw with Kevin Owens defeating Baron Corbin. Dude, I don't know what it's going to take for Corbin to get over, but he is like this era's Brooklyn Brawler to me. I don't get it. The dude's got the look. He's got a good look. He's got a good size. He's got a good moveset. He's not terrible on the microphone. There's just something about him that doesn't click. And I don't know what it is. But something about him just does not click at all, whether it be with the fans or with anybody. But I never see this guy holding the main title. Period. Not anymore. I would have thought, years ago, like, dude, they're gonna put the belt on this guy eventually. I don't see it ever. I could see him maybe mid card, IC, US, something like that. Beyond that, I don't see it anything beyond that. Hmm. Not even tag team because there's nothing logically that would make sense for tag team wrestling for him either. Because he's just one of those people. But let's see here. Kevin Owens then ended up outsmarting the bloodline, and there was a bunch of people there. Uncle Howdy then essentially was, dealing with Alexa Bliss, and she was dealing with how, Uncle Howdy influences her. We ended up, shortly after that, they went to a match with Bailey defeating Michin. So I still don't get the name change. Like, why? Why did we all of a sudden do a name change for her? For Mia Yin. They went to Michin. Okay. Sure. Out comes Lashley, to the surprise of Austin Theory and Seth Rollins. I'm glad Lashley's back. I don't know what they're going to do with him. Are they going to reinvigorate the bloodline? Or not the bloodline, the whatever the hell, MVP was running around calling them people. I don't remember, but it was like MVP, Lashley, Cedric, and Shelton. I don't even remember what the hell they were called. That's how they were over at one point. They really were. Like they could have gone. They could have definitely held titles and been even good. Bloodline versus them would have been fine, but I just don't get it. I don't get how they're gonna transition Lashley back into that fold. Are they gonna make him a face group to go up against the Bloodline? That might be. It could be something, but beyond that, you got to have something for the people to be invested in. And right now, nobody's investing anything in anything Lashley or MVP's doing. And then you got Omos. Nobody cares about Omos at all. The only people who cared about Omos, well, Vince is now back, so there's that to keep in mind. Uh, oh yeah, the Hurt Business. Hey, thanks Shane Odom. See. Look, I gotta have people remind me. Yeah, the Hurt Business. Like I said, one of those things where um, I completely forgot about him because it didn't last long enough to leave that much of an impact, in my estimation. So because it didn't leave that much of an impact, I didn't really care about it. Um, Now you've got Rhea Ripley defeating Candice LeRae. I I understand the point of wanting to make Rhea look dominant. However, doing it at the expense of Candice LeRae, y'all could have done. They could have done so much different with that. Where's Dewdrop or Piper Niven or pick a name? Give her feed her somebody else. You don't want to feed her one of the people you're going to use on the top of your charts in the next 3 years. Uh Bailey and Michin makes sense because of where they are in their in their stories. Candace was actually recently being utilized, in programs heading up. So for her to essentially get wrecked by Mommy is just ridiculous to me. Solo Sikoa defeating Dolph Ziggler. Solid matchup between them two. I am a firm believer that Dolph is one of the better workhorse that they got in that building. Period. In that company. Solo, dude, is going to be a force to be reckoned with for a long time. I don't know if I ever see him main title, but I see him. I see mid card, and even maybe even challenging at some point for a main title. But we're talking years down the road. The whole segment with how prison changed Dominic is ridiculous. That was just stupid. I get it that it's all part of storyline, but give me a break. So the Judgment Day ended up running a gauntlet in tag team turmoil, and that is nothing short of insane to me. The teams they went against, there's nothing wrong with it. However, it was just very unexpected that it would go down like that. You had the Judgment Day go over the OC. Then they defeated Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, which, yet again, that takes us back to that whole Hurt Business thing. It's like they've been teasing it just rarely. Every now and then they'll just drop a little hint or something. It's kind of funny. They defeated the Alpha Academy, which nobody's surprised about. But then they defeated the Street Profits after defeating those other three teams. They defeated them as well, and it's like, holy crap! I just I'm surprised that that's how they ended up rocking this out. And that was the great thing. Nobody expected them to win when they started it off. So it was in my book. It was really good booking by WWE for the tag team turmoil match. Lasted right around an hour. It took almost an hour for that. So it was a great way to burn up that last hour and keep everybody invested because they were like, "Holy crap! There's no way this is going to happen. There's no way they're going to keep going. There's no way." And it kept the hook in them. So kudos to WWE for that. Um, gonna skip NXT this week because um it wasn't anything to write home about. You know, Normally with NXT, you can find some stuff that, how do I put this? you can find some stuff that'll keep your attention. You can always find something to be entertained by, right? Well, in this case, there was nothing spectacular that happened in this um, that made you care. The you know Dijak defeating Tony D'Angelo. Nobody was surprised. Gallus returns to win the tag team gauntlet match. Why did we just have a gauntlet match on Raw and then a gauntlet match here on NXT? Like, okay. And then Breaker defeated Waller via countout. Give me a break. Like I said, there was it's nothing much that really got anybody invested in it. Charlie Dempsey defeating Hank Walker. Okay, that's I'm gonna give that one some credit, and I'll tell you why. Charlie Dempsey's the son of William Regal, and that's awesome. Jinder Mahal defeating Julius Creed. Why is Jinder on NXT? And he's beating up a tag team competitor. Yeah. Gigi Dolan and JC Jane win the number one contender 20 woman battle royal. Okay, so they're good to go to challenge for their NXT women's, you know, they're going after the NXT Women's Championship match or a championship in a Valentine, a triple threat at Vengeance Day. It's like I don't understand the direction that they're going with this. Are they planning something when it comes to Mandy? Are they gonna do something? Are they gonna bring back Chelsea Green into the fold? What's there? There wasn't enough of a hook for me to care a lot about this. Vengeance Day, I'm interested in seeing. Um, but it is when it is. You know, let's go ahead and move on. We will talk about AEW Dynamite. So he had Page versus Moxley to open it up, and Page ended up hitting a buckshot lariat and ended up pinning John Moxley. A lot of people were like, wait a minute, there's no way this makes sense. Why are you going to have. Because Page essentially was having a hard time staying healthy after a concussion. And because of that, they delayed him, on coming back, which is also weird because they took forever and a day when it came to Adam Cole. Adam Cole came back, and it's like, wait a minute, he just came back from a concussion. Oh, wait a minute, here we go. WWE should put Tiffany Stratton with Toxic Attraction if they are not bringing Mandy Rose back. Shane, that's not a bad idea, man. It's really not. I like that idea, sir. Honestly, that's actually a pretty good suggestion. Hopefully, whatever lurkers there are who follow the TRWC page, report that down to Florida, and that they tell them in NXT. Who knows? Maybe I'll tell them when I go to Orlando later on this year. I'll just drop in and be like, hey, by the way, you ought to you ought to do this. Oh my God. Yeah, because I'm even going to make it through the door of Full Sail. But either way, Adam Cole came back. He's suffering from what's called PCS. It's post concussion syndrome, or that's what he was suffering with. Now, for those of you who've had a concussion, you may or may not understand it. Sometimes the results of the concussion can be permanent. Matter of fact, earlier today, I was told about going to some archery range, and I was apparently shooting a compound bow. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't remember. I don't remember that at all. I know I was there, and I know because I went there multiple times. I went to this one archery shop multiple times. I liked hunting with a crossbow, and back then I wanted to get a nice compound. Well, anyway, he goes, "Man, you don't remember any of that?" I'm like, mm-mm. Nah, I don't remember that at all. I have no clue about trying to, holding back, shooting across a compound. I don't remember that at all. I remember owning a compound and then selling a compound or a couple of them, but I don't remember being there and testing one out whatsoever. It's like 6 or 8 years ago. I got no clue about it. Um, so post concussion syndrome can affect different people different ways, and you become really sensitive to light. You become Some people will end up wearing like tinted glasses or sunglasses or blue glass whatever, so that way lights don't affect them as hard, and they don't end up with the headaches anymore. That definitely is a thing. You've got sound. Some people will have just horrible freakouts to sound. Like I say, memory is a big one that goes when it comes to post concussion. So for Adam Cole to come back and do what he does is crazy. I don't know how they're gonna book it because you only got so many on the bump card anyway, right? So imagine how bad that bump card is when it's filled with concussions. And people who don't want to acknowledge that, I'm sorry, but y'all gotta go see Chris Benoit. Y'all gotta go talk about Chris Benoit. You gotta talk about, you know, the dude that does all the research for him. I am a firm believer that a concussion can definitely hinder your ability to function as a person. Firm believer in that. I've experienced it. So it also changes your perception and how you care or view things. And once something starts to logically make sense with you, that's now the way. There isn't much of a sway of, there's no real deterrence. It's This is the way. This is it. Um that happens a lot. So next matchup after the Adam Cole interview would have been Jack Perry and Hook going up against the Firm, which is Big Bill and Lee Moriarty. Dude, of course you're gonna have the little guy on the heel team be the one to cause the loss. So Jungle Boy ended up making Lee Moriarty tap out, and that's just ended up that's how it ended up being, man. The match wasn't too too out there long. It was just a match just to keep their storyline going, keep their feud going, and make stuff make sense. Um, Ended up having next match out was Brian Danielson and Takashita is going to be as best as I can do when it comes to pronouncing that dude's name. Um, Crazy because MJF's coming out and still talking trash about how that goes with their Iron Man match that's coming up, and I can't wait for that to happen. I think it's going to be awesome. Um, that match ended up being completed out by ref stoppage, where Takashita was essentially unconscious. Um, let's see here. Juice Robinson showed up. Okay. Dude, I didn't care for him much in NXT. I understand that he's done some cool stuff in New Japan, so that's great. I I got no problem with it. Uh, but he doesn't really excite me him being back here. I didn't it didn't make me really want to jump up and go, "Oh my god, look who it is." I didn't really care. Um, Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker went up against Saraya and Tony Storm. Ha! Wasn't there a bunch of people saying that it was going to be Sasha Banks? I mean Mercedes Monet. Wasn't it a bunch of people saying Mercedes Monet is guaranteed to be the one, and it's going to be in LA, and it's going to be this, and it's going to be. Hey man, oh hey, you right there, yeah, you, cool, you, um, go get that napkin, go get that towel, and get that egg off your face, please. Appreciate you. Oh, don't thank me. You're welcome. It's okay. Come on, guys. Yet again, dirt sheets. The dirt sheets are going to be the death of you. I promise you. Sasha Banks does not need to full time wrestle anywhere. She can take those big ass payouts that she just got in Japan randomly, sporadically, and never need money in her life. She's got everything else going for her. She does not need a full time wrestling contract. Neither does Mandy Rhodes, for that matter. And the people that are like, "Oh my God, well, Mandy Rhodes is just splashing her shit out there, and she's gonna get, who cares?" I hate, man. Look, this there ain't an OnlyFans for dad bods. Okay, good. Y'all be glad there ain't an OnlyFans for dad bods. Okay, because I'd be all up in that shit. No joke. I'll sell feet pics. I got some feet that are whiter than that powder y'all got stuck on your nose. That's what that is. My feet don't never see the light of day. I just don't understand how people are still convinced that Sasha Banks is going to end up somewhere permanently. I don't ever see her wrestling permanently again. I see her chilling and doing what, you know, movies, red carpet, model, so many other things. Why would she go back to the ring ever full time? Why? There's no sense in it. There isn't. Enlighten me. Main event was the final match of the best of 7 series, and it was a World Trios Championship match. Death Triangle versus the Elite. And in the end of this, Ray Phoenix climbed up the top of the ladder. Kenny Omega met him up there. Kenny hit the one winged angel from the ladder. Pac jumped off the turnbuckle for the Black Arrow, but Kenny raised his knees. Kenny climbed to the top and pulled the belts down and knew. That's how it went out. They went out in style. I mean, they're working a West Coast tour right now, so that's awesome. Because they'll be back in Cali in next week as well. Now, I'm not going to cover Thursday night's Impact taping because Friday night Impact had a pay per view called Hard to Kill 2023. And what we'll do is this: we'll cover SmackDown, we'll cover Rampage, and then we'll cover Hard to Kill in that order. And then from there, I mean, the world is your cloister, okay? The world's your oyster. At that point, we can talk about whatever y'all want to talk about. Don't care because we've got everything else locked in. And what I actually found to be a pretty entertaining match, considering I like Braun Strowman. You know, he's awesome to watch because the guy is, he's larger than life. He really is larger than life. He's a huge man. So I find it entertaining to see what this guy can do. If that makes any sense out there. I think that's kind of part of the allure when it comes to some of the larger wrestlers. They're big, they're impressive, they're imposing, and you want to see what they're capable of. So seeing him go up against Gunther was awesome. I enjoyed it. Really solid matchup. And for the ending to be that Gunther hit a power bomb on Strowman is insane to me. I found that really cool. Karrion Kross ended up laying out Rey Mysterio. Tegan Knox defeated Xia Li. I didn't understand the reason this occurred, but I'm not mad at it. Xia Li is impressive, and so is Tegan Knox. I'm hopeful that Tegan Knox kind of keeps her health in check on this run. Um, she went from blowing out one knee to blowing out the other knee, or the same knee, or both knees the second time. It was like, wait a minute, why did we, what are you doing? I didn't understand what caused her to blow her legs out so bad. But if they're gonna work, if she's gonna work a good pace and she can work at this rate, hell yeah, I'm in. Because I like Tegan Knox anyway. I think she's impressive. Xia Li's nothing but impressive as well. They've both been fantastic to watch since NXT. Whew. Yeah, drink. All right. Bray Wyatt came out and he said and did all his stuff, talk about LA Knight. I guess they're building towards that pitch black match, which is gonna have something to do with pitch black Mountain Dew, and I can't wait for pitch black Mountain Dew, especially if it's gonna be the sour one. Man, the sour Mountain Dew pitch black 2, I think it was my favorite back in the day. And I think that that Joker with a little bit of whiskey in it would taste phenomenal. But that's just me. We'll find out. Raquel Rodriguez defeated Liv Morgan. Dude, at least they had her, at least they have Liv still trying to look like a badass instead of just, a dainty one. They, I think that while they did make her look a little bit more extreme towards the end of her run, they didn't do her any favors during it. If that makes any sense. I feel like they dropped the ball on her. But either way, at least she got the strap. She had it wasn't a forgettable title run. There was some hardcore shit in there, and it made it believable that she could win. So it works for me. Uh, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens fight to a no contest ending. Guys, it looked like Sami was going to win the fight, right? It really did look like he was going to win the match. The Usos did that and it essentially cost him his win. I don't get it. And that's how we ended SmackDown, man. I'm one of those people where I like the fact that they're trying to keep that story going and marinating. But at the same time, are they going to just we got 2 weeks until the Rumble. We got the Royal Rumble in 2 weeks, right? Let me check on that. I think isn't it the 28th or 29th? Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I'm right. I'm interested in that. Yeah, let's see here. The Mountain Dew Pitch Black match at the Royal Rumble. What the hell is this? Let's see here. I'm gonna check and see because I think the Royal Rumble. Yeah, Saturday the 28th at 8 Eastern. Yeah. So we've got the Royal Rumble coming up in just a few weeks. There's not that much built for this. You got KO and and Reigns. You got the pitch black match, and you got the men's and women's rumble. That is all we have is 3 matches for the Royal Rumble right now. 3. Well, four. I'm sorry, I can't count. Y'all know I can't count good. That's PCS. Um, sorry, I don't mean to make fun of it. I'm serious. Uh, but you've got the title match, the pitch black match, the men's and women's rumble. That's all we got announced so far. In my book, if you're not going to have the rest of the stuff defended or anything else done, you need to do, I would say, put the mid card titles on the line on the pre show. Yeah, put the mid card titles on the line on the pre show. That would be cool because then everybody get to see at least something of merit for the Rumble. You could open it with, I don't care, the Women's Royal Rumble. Then have your pitch black match. Then have the women's title match. Then have the men's rumble. And then the title match. It's somewhere in that order, or the men's title match and then the men's rumble at the end. It doesn't matter what happens in what order. But I feel like they've got less surprises in store for the women's Royal Rumble than they do the men's. Is it possible we see Mickey James again? Is it possible we see other people from other companies again? Is it possible we see retirees come back or Hall of Famers, legends, whatever? Is it possible we see them come back? All this is possible. I have no idea what they're going to do for the men's at this point. The only speculation I have is they've been hinting that Cody return. So it's kind of everybody feels it's obvious that Cody's going to come back at Rumble. And my opinion is Cody comes back and wins the Rumble. Straight up. I feel like he's going to win the Rumble. And you guys will not, I'll go ahead and tell you here and now, you're actually not going to see me live on the 29th. I will not be here. I will not be doing a podcast that week. I won't be doing the Thursday night indie spotlight when it comes to the 26th, and I will not be doing the Wrestling Wire on the 29th. I am taking that week off from podcasting and live streaming. So you won't see me at all. I won't be at a show. I won't be here. I won't be here. I won't be over there. That's all you need to know. I just won't be here. But anyway, let's move on into Rampage. Darby Allin versus Juice Robinson. Darby countered Juice with a Scorpion Death Drop off the ropes. He connected with a coffin drop and pinned Juice Robinson. Sting came out to celebrate with Darby after the match. So Sting's back again. Cool. Kings of the Black Throne is Brody King and Malachi Black versus Eddie Kingston and Ortiz. I mean, you had Black ended up finishing Kingston off. And then, for some reason, after the match, Malachi Black told Ortiz, "You did good." It's real weird how they're working this. Oh, whoa. Hey, there's a good one. Shane Odom said, I wouldn't be surprised to see Brandy Rhodes in the Women's Royal Rumble. You know, I wouldn't either. I heard she worked a match, like a tryout match on NXT. Did anybody else hear that? I want to say I heard something about her working a show within the last month or two. I want to say she's been in the ring in the last couple months. Huh. Shane, that was a hell of a call, man. That was a really good theory. I'm trying to think. Besides Mickey James, you know what we haven't heard about in a long time? Tessa Blanchard. Nobody's heard anything about Tessa Blanchard in quite some time. I am surprised that the WWE hasn't made a play for some of those bigger names out there. I can't, for the life of me, understand. We'll get more into that. I'll when I finish the recap for the week, I will talk about some theories and things that come to my mind every time the sale thing comes up because right then and there, just a million and one things occurred, and I was like, man, if I go down there, I'll never get out of here. Um, I will be here all night and tomorrow, and that doesn't work because I got to go to work tomorrow. Um, well, yeah, I should. Let me phrase that. I should go to work tomorrow. We ended up having a street fight: Ruby Soho and Willow Nightingale versus Anna Jay and Tay Mello. I get it that it seems like they keep going to these feuds, and it's got to be a bloody ending, and there's tag teams involved, and for some reason, like Tay Mello bleeds like a stuck pig. So does I. They all do. Have you guys noticed? They all bleed like stuck pigs. All them women do. It's crazy. I see more blood out of them than I see out of the men. Um, but if you look at Britt Baker, you look at Ruby Soho's face, or you look at Tay Mello, one of the last times she did, dude, they are just covered in blood when they bust their head open. I don't get what it is. I wonder if it's where they're hitting it, or if it's are they clipping the vein in there? I mean, dude, it's a lot. It's a lot of blood. Um, I was at an indie show last night, and I mean there was a bit of blood there as well. Yeah, there was a couple scratches on, a couple scratched up foreheads by the time the day was done, but it was just one of those things where, like, dude, there was nowhere near that amount of blood. Nowhere near it. So I don't know if there's a lot. I don't know if there's a lot planned on it. I don't know if there's. I don't know if they got that much adrenaline pumping that it just looks like a damn fountain squirting out their forehead or what. But it's it's crazy when the women bleed on AEW how much blood there is. Uh, it's uncanny to me. But at any rate, Ruby ended up pinning Tay Mello, and she hit it right into the thumbtacks. It was a crazy matchup. Impact, hard to kill, y'all. You sleeping on Impact, you're doing it wrong. I'm telling you, if you're sleeping on Impact, you're doing it wrong. Do they have great coverage? No. They got piss poor coverage. They have piss poor marketing. They have piss poor television channel. I made this remark. I was talking to some people outside last night during intermission on the wrestling show, that indie show I was at up in Lenoir, North Carolina. I'll talk more about that indie show Thursday night on the Thursday Night Indie Spotlight with my new host, David Estacado. Him and I will be chilling, talking about that. And we're going to be talking about some upcoming shows coming up here. What day are we talking about those? Or, they're coming up as soon as next Friday. As soon as next Friday, we'll be talking about that. But there is so much going on with Impact. They've got some really good talent. They've got some seriously talented workers there. There's just a lot going on, but there's no recognition because nobody wants to pay them any damn attention. So I'm like, give me a break here. They need to do something better. I don't know what they need to do, but it's got to be better than this. Either way, they had a countdown matchup before the show started. Kushida ended up defeating uh, Angels, Yamura, Delirious, Mike Jackson, and Mike Bailey. So I guess it was like an X Division style matchup. Either way, if you haven't seen it, you need to go check the highlights out or go look for it online. I guarantee you can find it somewhere. Or, you could do the really cool thing and go pay for the pay-per-view, which would support their product. X Division champion Trey Miguel defeated Black Taurus in an X Division championship match. Dude, that whole thing, Trey Miguel is a badass. I'm a huge believer that dude could do a lot. I don't see him, yet again, I don't see him being main event, but I do see him as being somebody who's really talented. They did they opened up the show, the actual pay per view, with a 10 bell salute to Don West, which I thought was really cool. I thought that Don West did a fantastic job. He didn't irritate the shit out of me, back in the day. So I like the dude. In Full Metal Mayhem, you had Josh Alexander, your Impact World Champion, versus Bully Ray. Now, for those of y'all who don't know, John Schuyler has been an indie darling here in the Carolinas forever. I've liked the guy. I've met the guy. I've worked for the guy. Well, I was his cameraman. Yeah, I was his cameraman. I've seen him at a couple of shows. The dude is fantastic. He's an excellent person. He's a great worker, and he is very fun to watch in the ring. I am super happy that he's on Impact because the dude is just a class act. Um, so either way, they show up. It is John Schuyler. Let's see here. I'm trying to catch my notes. Jason Hotch and John Schuyler zip tie Alexander to the ropes when Tommy Dreamer makes the save. Dreamer hits Bully with a trash can. And see, Bully and Dreamer getting into it is so damn funny. Because they've been fighting each other for almost 40 years at this point. It's every bit of 30. Well, no, probably, yeah, 20, 30 years, 25, 20, 25 years. Yeah, somewhere in there, 25 years, somewhere in that. Uh, unreal that they had Bully Ray end up tapping out over an ankle lock, but still, fantastic matchup, great finish. I'm telling you that this was worth the watch. Just a really solid matchup. I am a big believer that Josh Alexander is one of the best current wrestlers on the planet. He is a phenomenal wrestler. Personality wise, he's starting to come out of his shell. Charisma, he's getting it, but he's a great worker. He is a great wrestler. Uh, dude, the the people that came out, you had Impact Legends Tara and Raven wish Mickey James good luck in her matchup. And after that, ended up like I say, Mickey James ended up challenging Jordan Grace for the Knockouts title in the main event of that show. Your next matchup was the World Tag Team Champions, the Motor City Machine Guns, versus the major players, which is Matt Cardona and Brian Myers, versus Heath and Heath and Rhino versus the Bullet Club, which is Ace Austin and Chris Bay. Ace Austin in the Bullet Club and Chris Bay. Okay, come on, guys. It's so weird how they keep doing this Bullet Club thing. I don't get it. Anyway, the Motor City Machine Guns retained in that matchup. Once again, this is some stuff that you've gotta see to understand and believe. Um, Frankie Kazarian showed up. He has signed a long-term deal with Impact Wrestling. Okay, what are they going to do with him? Digital Media Championship Joe Hendry versus Moose. Now, according to this, the way it went down was that Moose ended up hitting a spear to steal the victory. Santino Marella arrives as Impact's new director of authority, announces this match will be restarted. Hendry connects with a standing ovation to retain the digital media title. So at first they that's a good way to go about this match. If you don't understand what I'm saying, go watch the match. And you essentially had two, because Joe Hendry's not a really popular guy, and neither is Moose as far as like being baby faces. Neither one of them are really true baby faces, in my opinion. But it wasn't a bad day at the office for that matchup. Deanna Purrazzo versus Slamovich versus Wild versus Killer Kelly for the Knockouts World Title #1 contendership. Slamovich defeated Purrazzo and is now your #1 contender for that. Unreal how they're going to have Slamovich, who's been around for what, maybe a year or so. She's now your #1 contender. They're going to have to do something to make it believable that she could beat a great like Mickey James. I get that she's powerful, but you know, we've seen that before time and time again. Look at the Glamazon, look at China, look at Jazz, so on and so forth. We've seen it. You're going to have to do something a little bit different to get that to go, haywire. What the hell? Whoops. I set this thing up to go live at the wrong time. Ha! Oh well. One second here. So, Rich Swann and Steve Macklin in a Falls Count Anywhere in Atlanta. Dude, Rich Swann is just back fighting in the streets, I guess. Oh, if you didn't get that joke, I'm sorry. Uh, But just understand it is a joke. I have all the respect in the world for Rich Swan. Dude, he's an awesome worker. He's a very talented man. And then Steve Macklin, dude, it is wild how this is going. And Steve Macklin ended up defeating Rich Swan, Falls Count Anywhere in Atlanta. I'm telling you, Impact, um, Impact is where it's at. Let's see here. Another former world champion was beaten by Steve Macklin. That was kind of like the thing he had to say was that he's beating world champions. Had Eddie Edwards defeating Jonathan Gresham. Dude, Gresham is a machine, and people do not recognize him for that. Knockouts World Championship. Mickey James defeated Jordan Grace with a tornado DDT to win the Knockouts title and keep her career alive. With her wearing that belt, we're going back into Rumble season. Do y'all see what I'm saying? Hold on. Mickey's thing is that if she loses, she retires. Does that mean if she loses the Royal Rumble, she'll retire? If she's in the Royal Rumble? Huh. It's really that's really interesting, isn't it, guys? There's a thought there. I could be wrong. I could be dead wrong. Could you imagine how over it would go for her to win the Royal Rumble with the Impact title? Huh. I'm trying to think of the logic for ending. See, look, trying to figure out the answer is trying to make the end logical enough to buy in the beginning. So when you're trying to build something like that, how can you logically make it end? If you don't have a good conclusion, you'll never. The story couldn't doesn't make a damn bit of difference to get there if the ending is shit. Case in point, the Hell in a Cell, the Fiend, and Seth Rollins. Case and point. Let's see here. Guys, that is the full recap of everything that occurred in the last week. What I wanted to kind of put out there was this. We've been talking about how there is the possibility of a sale, and then you hear about the cons. Look, the cons don't want anything to do with WWE. They don't. They don't even want to purchase it for the library. Okay, because unless oh maybe they do, but it's just stupid. The amount of money that they would have to pay is ridiculous. I don't think it would be worth it for them on return on investment because I don't think that they can substantiate, you know, and survive long enough for it to be fruitful. That's why I say I don't think that they have a good ROI by purchasing the WWE. So, oh, and by the way, ROI is return on investment, ROI. So, if you don't know that, I'm sorry, go back to school because somebody failed you. You didn't fail the class, they failed you. Um, so in the end, it's like this. I want to see different places have different abilities. With the sale of WWE looming, do you think you could see something happen where like Triple H and Steph or somebody goes and decides to take all their WWE funding and go do something with Impact or NWA or anything like that? Would you believe that? I'd believe it. I'm surprised that Cody Rhodes didn't buy the NWA. I'll be honest with you. I am super surprised he didn't buy it. Um, because the name alone, NWA, the history with him and his family, and the fact that probably when it was purchased, it wasn't a whole lot of money, and he probably could have made something out of it. I wholeheartedly believe that Cody Rhodes could have bought the NWA and turned it into something. Um, I would have I wouldn't have had a problem with that. I would have been down to watch it. So with that being said, I believe you could see somebody like somebody coming out of this WWE thing, and oh, you want me to cover this? Okay. I saw a funny quote. What if the Jacksonville Jaguars won the Super Bowl? Would WWE give the championship to the Cons? Of course they would, and let me tell you why. Because even if the title belt cost them $1,500, it's still going to be a $1,500 tax write off. Uh, what do I care? If I was the WWE, even though it's just $1,500, it's a tax write off because it was a gift. It was a corporate gift at that point. I can go to the cigar store, right? And I can fill my humidor. See what I'm saying? I could go and buy a handful of cigars and stuff them in here, and close it. Right? I'm trying to put that down to where it doesn't fall. Because I don't want it to break. It's nice, and I could buy cigars, right? And I could just show up at an event. Look, I went to an indie show last night. Let's say I showed up there with my humidor and I handed out cigars after the show and we were outside smoking. Every single one of those was a tax write off at that point. It was a business expense. So when you're a corporation of that size, what do you give a shit? I wouldn't care. That's my opinion. I would do it and just who cares? But you still got to have the Jaguars win the Super Bowl. And it's funny to me that and they likely now they will not win because I saw this video from Trevor Lawrence where Trevor Lawrence said, "Oh hey, uh, you couldn't have wrote a better script." What? He said you couldn't have written a crazier script than that. Did y'all hear his interview? Go listen to it. It's about an 8-second clip about like this, and he goes, "Yeah, you just couldn't have written a crazier script." Did you just blow the lid on the NFL guy? I mean, I've been saying it for years, but okay, sure. I got no problem believing it. I have no problem believing that major sports like that are scripted. And I'll tell you why. Because Vegas, the money, it's got too much money in it for it to not be controlled. You know what I'm saying? So I have no problem believing it. And if that's the case, oh, it's real. It's real. That's why they gamble on it. Then why are they gambling on WWE and AEW and all that other shit? This shit's on DraftKings and all that other madness. It's bet on in Vegas. It's all bet on. What's the difference? You can't differentiate from 1 to 2 to 2 to 3 to 3 to 4. It doesn't. You can't differentiate those. Boxing, MMA, NFL, WWE. Are they all gambled on? Yes, they are. Okay, cool. How do you know that those three are real? Then how do you know it? How do you believe that? How, you want to believe it. You want to believe it. That's what's different. You want to believe what you're seeing is real. You want to believe what you're seeing is real. So that's where I'm at with it, man. I think it's I've been saying for years I thought it was fake, but that was or not fake, predetermined winners. And I'm talking about the NFL. As far as like college, nobody cares. Now, I will say this. I will say this. Things like hockey and soccer because they have soccer as when if you're into Europe they say football. That over there, not American football, but football. Those because of the international flair, I believe those to be real because it wouldn't make much sense for an American organization to give a flying shit about another country and their monetary value and their monetary gain over a win of a championship, i.e., Toronto or Columbus or you know the Canadians or whatever, any of those, the Habs, all those Montreal Canadian teams, all those teams north of the border. None of the revenue from them is going to trickle down into the U.S. for them winning a title. So you see what I'm saying? I don't know about that. Same with soccer because the shit's all over the world. Now, maybe MLS, but that would be why teams from the MLS couldn't cut the mustard in a FIFA title. They'd probably go overseas and get beat by some middle school team. I have no idea. I don't know anything about soccer, football, whatever like that. I haven't. I've never watched a game. I have no idea how any of it works. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that is. The hell is this? Hmm. There's so much going on out there with that. I don't know. I believe it could be fake. There's a lot to it. Anyway, with that being said, when you look at the NWA, I'm hoping that they come back to TV. I'm hoping they do something and come back to TV. Triple H and Stephanie could run that up, in my opinion. They'd have to make some drastic changes. Yeah, there'd have to be some different ideas at the helm to get it to change. And of course, nothing's gonna happen overnight. But I believe that it being a classic product would still be viable, just done more publicly. That's my whole thing. Um, I don't understand why Vince didn't buy it just for the rights. I don't get it. Um, that would have made more sense to me. Would have been Vince to buy that to own all the video rights of that as well. Uh, with that being said, I mean, there's obviously they could just go start their own thing if they wanted to, but that's all hinging upon a sale we don't know anything about. We don't know if any of that's actually going to happen. We don't know what's going to go down with that. Um, I'm just one of those people where it's like, dude, we need to do something way different. They got to do way more with this. I'm hopeful Impact does something as well because I want to see Impact actually thrive and people pay attention to it because they do not they don't have good marketing. Their marketing sucks. I don't understand it. And same with, in my opinion, same with the NWA. AEW's marketing is pretty good. WWE's marketing is fucking great. Impact and NWA, you never hear about them. Very seldom do you ever see anything on TV, commercial wise. You never hear about anything for any of those. There's just a ton of things that don't make sense anymore. So I don't get it. I really hope for the best for the NWA, and I do as well for Impact. I just want to see them go a little bit different direction on the marketing, maybe on the television thing. Uh, I was hopeful that Anthem would pick up and do more. So you know what? How about this? We'll just see what happens with them. Um, at any rate, guys, we've been on for the grand total of an hour. Uh, really don't have too much else to go over with any of y'all. I greatly appreciate you being here. It was a fun time. It was a fun show. You know how it is. It's always a good time when you're here. So, what we're going to do is this. I'm going to tell you about this. Coming up this Thursday night, be sure you check out the Thursday night Indie Spotlight right here. We talk about independent pro wrestling, 8 p.m. Thursday. every Thursday, almost every Thursday, we talk about this. Sometimes there's a guest, but now I have a co-host. Myself and David Estacado will be here. We'll be talking about a whole bunch of indie stuff coming up in the area. We're going to cover a couple of details from uh, the show that I was at last night. We're going to talk about whatever he was doing this weekend. I don't remember because I got a memory about as long as uh, I don't know, the hair on my forehead. Makes sense, right? So there's just a lot there, man. We're going to be checking in on that. So, guys, thank you very much for coming out. It's been real. It's been fun. And hell yeah, it's been real fun. We will see you next time right back here for the Wrestling Wire next Sunday, 4 p.m. Thus proclaimed.